Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is a video to explain our wiki page for the class CIED 5363 for Sam Houston State University. Let's begin. If you go to our page, here's the URL up here. What you will see here is a welcome, what we want you to walk away with, why, and how to navigate this website. So again, to reemphasize our purpose is to prepare educators in the classroom and help prepare the teachers and the learners to be effective in this digital age in which we live. We want you to learn how to implement technology in your classroom. And what we want you to walk away with, as you can tell, these 6 things. We want you knowing digital age practices that are best in teaching. We want you to feel comfortable with technology. We want you to be exposed to different research-based, learner-centered tools for the always changing diverse needs and interests of every student. We want to show you best practices when planning technology for learning experience. We want to effectively provide rigorous, appropriate, and stimulating learning experiences for all students, and then give you a plethora of free online tools that can be incorporated in the classroom. And we will go more into detail, but nowadays with teaching, we've got to find a way to incorporate technology. This is the way that our students are geared today. They are technology driven. They are surrounded with almost every type of technology. So we need to make sure that we have the resources needed in order to be effective teachers today. To begin, let's click on content. This will give you an overall view of what our research is included. Technology in the classroom. And this right here is a Google slide. This will give you the overall view as teaching. Everything is changing to where in the past we've been the teacher-led. We have been a teacher-led classroom. And now we are changing to where student-led programs, student-led classrooms are now being encouraged. So now what our role is as teachers is to be what's called a technology facilitator, which means that we use the technologies to turn it from what we can teach the kids to where it's student-centered, where the students can learn on their own and they can use the technology to find the resources needed to learn what is needed. Some useful strategies for educators, as you can see here, is being open-minded, being respectful and understanding, conducting a team-building exercise, again, being a team player, asking questions you do not know answers to, and to be patient. These are very important steps in order to start becoming the student-led classroom that we need to be, and for us as educators to be that technology facilitator that is essential in classrooms such as these. We will go more into detail on BYOD, bring your own device. This is something we have done a lot of research on, and it's a theory, but it's a trend that will allow students to bring their own technology devices in the classroom to do multiple things. Now, if you know BYOD, there are some positives and there are some negatives to it. And you can see some here for some positives. They are cost effective. They are ease of use. There's continuation of learning at home. Again, if you look at the negatives, there's lack of support for the devices. They're difficult to manage in the classroom. And there are some security issues. Let's go to BYOD tab here on the upper right. And if you look at the positives, we do break it down to you. On cost effective, imagine students bringing their own device and the schools won't have to pay for them. And tech support won't have to worry about repairing them because it's not district owned. Ease of use. We have students who they know their own device. They use it hours upon end. So instead of us as educators putting devices into the students' hands to learn a new device, we can instead allow them to use their own devices that they know how to maneuver and navigate around. And they can go ahead and do their schoolwork, their homework. They can do all types of things in the classroom, and they already know how to use this device. Continuation of learning at home is another positive, which means we can send homework with the students. They're able to go even further and check missing assignments. They can check tutorials that we post. Even up to the point where we can do a flipped classroom where students are doing lessons at their home and they're doing homework at school. Some negatives, as we've covered: lack of support. Teachers may not have the resources to implement BYOD. This includes the devices, the knowledge, the training, which is essential to be able to implement BYOD. It also means that there are some students who may have a broken device, or they might not even have a device, which is a major issue if you're trying to implement BYOD. Number two, it's difficult to manage, which in my personal experience, I've seen this being the primary reason why classrooms and districts are not wanting to implement BYOD, because imagine students that don't have clear expectations, that they're distracted by other apps, such as social media, texting, students not able to charge their device. It even goes further to cyberbullying, where students are bullying each other, all the way to cheating, to where students have been known to take pictures of their quiz, of their schoolwork, and posting it on a social media app for other students to be able to see their answers. The last one is security, which again is a concern, but if network administrators would be able to implement firewalls, web filters, and to be able to have their rights to be where the students do not have access to other computers, this should not be too big of a concern. Again, if we go back to content, let me catch you up on the Google slide. Teacher's role, and what we're showing, is not being replaced, but showing that the instructor is now putting a new role, such as a facilitator, to where the students are doing their own learning. If you go down on content, we do have some really neat videos for you, such as this Teaching in the 21st Century. And you can see here, this is where overall this video is talking about how students can use technology to find information and how to teach the students how to use their resources properly. And if you look, the thumbnail talks about Bloom's taxonomy. And students are able to use technology to, instead of focusing on remember, the bottom levels, to be able to create their own content, to be able to do work that normally would not be able to be possible using just textbooks. And as well, another video is a school district that has successfully implemented BYOD and how they are happy, and giving tips on how teachers can actually implement BYOD the right way. If we look here, the next one is glossary of terms. And each one of these 7 gives you a different internet link, such as professional development, which ranges from training that teachers can access to learn more about technology, all the way to different core subjects. You have classroom management, which will give you resources on how educators can effectively manage their classroom, especially using technology. It goes to blended learning, which is where students are able to do online learning compared to in-person. It's a blend of both. Number 4 talks about student-centered learning, which we've been talking about, where instead of the teacher taking on the role of teaching the information, the students are now in charge of their own learning, and they're able to use technology and different resources to be able to learn and to tailor their own needs. Content knowledge is number 5, and that's the knowledge that us as educators, we need to be able to teach the students. Here in Texas, it's called the TEKS, the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, and that's what content knowledge, the core information that students need to walk away knowing. Number 6, learning environment, which is actually ranging outside of the classroom, which now involves going to field trips and using technology. We can actually do virtual field trips to where students can use their own devices to be able to tour different cities, different museums, different places, so they can actually be connected with the learning. And again, number 7, or last one for number 7, is culture, which is something that a school puts in place for the students to set the attitude, to set the expectations, to be able to allow the students to know what is expected and what they are going to learn and what they're going to implement in the schools. We have handouts next, which we have right now 6 different types. These are amazing documents that you need to check out. We have different technology in the classroom. We have 6 myths about BYOD. Again, technology in the classroom is just different things. You have Bloom's taxonomy, which is different ways of wording and different ways of structuring a lesson plan to fit the different types of blooms that we need to implement. Additional ideas, and even tic-tac-techno, which is something that you can actually challenge your students with, ranging from augmented reality, virtual field trips. It's a challenge for the students to be able to implement their own technology to really help further their learning. The next one is resources, and this is something that educators can use, and they are very useful. We have BYOD management, which has NETOP, Vision, classroom management software, Impero, and even Google Classroom, which is something my school uses. And this is so useful and very easy. So just click on these links and you're able to be educated further on these. We have choosing the right technologies, which these are just different educational products, platforms, and different things that you can use to be able to choose the right technology for you in your classroom. Some more tools to help you change your lessons. Let's say you're an educator and you need some ideas on how to make this student-centered, or even to implement technology, which is, again, our ultimate goal. We have, I know I use Nearpod in my classroom, and this is an easy website, an easy resource for any educator to use to implement their PowerPoints, their Google Slides, and to send quizzes out on the spot, to put a formative assessment, to quickly choose and to quickly assess what the students are learning. And each one of these use different formats, different ways of gauging information. So you do want to check these out. We have building collaborative environments, which students can use to collaborate and to research, to type their information in, which most people know Google Docs, but there are some others that you can use as well. As well, the last section here is professional development for educators, which this is the key. If educators are going to learn how to use technology and to structure their lesson plans to be student-centered, here are some resources for you to use. And you've got Education World, which does have some great content that you can check out. You have Teacher PD Sourcebook, which is, again, it's interactive and very good, all the way to lynda.com, which is usually a paid website, but it has so many just resources and tutorials on teachers being able to implement different programs. We also have 2 more sections, which is supplemental material, which we have used for BYOD. Here's a lesson unit that I've done in my own classroom using Nearpod. So you can see that this is a 3-day unit. This is about internet safety, which is required by the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills if you're an educator in Texas. So you can check this out and just see how Nearpod is able to take my PowerPoint and be able to put in questions and interactive material to keep the students engaged, interested, and for them to interact to make sure they are learning what you are putting forward. And the last section is our works cited. So you can see here we have several different resources that you're welcome to check out. We did put the links for those